So, my friends, welcome to a new crypto update video. Bitcoin at 104,700 US dollars. We are still in a sideways phase at the moment. Very little is happening. Volume has dropped off significantly. The only things that are low right now are the funding rates and the liquidity that's still up for grabs. Otherwise, the markets are moving very sideways, and even the stock markets are very quiet, as if we're getting ready for the next big move. Now we're going to talk about what the possible scenarios are. We'll take a look at one or two chart patterns, but not the symmetrical triangle. We can pretty much forget about that one by now, but we'll look at one or two new chart patterns and the broader chart. Tonight at 7 o'clock, like every Thursday, there will be a live stream on YouTube, Twitch, and Kick. So if you want to join, I'll drop the links in the Telegram group for you later. So feel free to join in. Before we get started, go ahead and give the video a like. Subscribe to the channel, and feel free to turn on the notification bell as well. If you're interested, you can also join the free Telegram Talk and Signal group. If you want updates, news, and signals, feel free to join there as well. You'll also find a link for that down in the video description. And if you're still looking for an exchange where you can trade everything we talk about here, you can find the link below in the video description or in the comment section. Just sign up with your partner exchange BingX. Right now, you can get up to 11,500 USDT in bonuses for registering, completing KYC, and so on. Alright, let's get started. Bitcoin at 104,600 US dollars. As I said, it's very quiet. That's also why there was no video yesterday, because honestly, very little happened. Right now, we have the symmetrical triangle, but we can actually remove it now. The price targets are still pretty much the same, even though, to be honest, I'm starting to lose hope more and more. There's a bit of uncertainty. We'll take another look at the stock markets in a moment. There, too, the trading volume is very low. We have positive impulses. Some countries want to, I don't know, buy Bitcoin, buy ETFs like crazy. But you shouldn't forget, even the ETFs can ultimately short. They can buy. They can keep buying the dips. They have more capital at their disposal. But at the moment, there also seems to be selling pressure, because despite all the big news we actually have, the price is basically not moving at all right now. And that makes me extremely skeptical. We don't even really need to talk about the volume. Then, what we also have right now is a kind of head and shoulders chart pattern, even though I don't really like it 100%. We've talked about it quite a few times already. Let's go over to the daily time frame now, because on the one hand, we have a similar situation to what we saw in 2021. We didn't have that 56% correction, but we do have a similar top formation. That's point number one. I really don't like that. Right now, we have a huge double top. Plus, there's really nothing coming in here, and the structure is pretty similar. As we approach the all-time high, the momentum fades. Before the all-time high, we had those big moves. That's all well and good. But as soon as we hit the all-time high, there's a lot more selling, and the price consolidates up here. Those are the things right now that make me a bit skeptical, both on the daily and on the smaller time frames. So just be a little cautious, take profits and so on. You can draw the trend line for the head and shoulders pattern here, roughly speaking. That would be here at around 103,600, or rather 103,000 US dollars, where the 200 SMA is, and where the monthly pivot is currently located. Then let's quickly take a look at the, funding rates. They're actually relatively negative again. I like that. That means there are currently a few more shorts in play. But that's also a situation we've been seeing over and over again for weeks and months now, that the funding rates just aren't like they were in 2021. That's another point you should keep in mind. Let's look at the heat map, the 3-day heat map. We have a lot of liquidity at 107,000, 108,000, 109,000. To the downside, there's exactly this cluster here at 103,600 US dollars. Thing. That's exactly the point we just talked about. So, let's put our red box right here. That's thick, strong support. There's a lot of liquidation happening here, and there's still hope that, depending on what happens first, we might drop down again today and then up here. The liquidity is around 107,800 to about 109,900 US dollars. These are exactly the two zones that are actually crucial. If we get a 4-hour close above 108,800, it's bullish and we can go after our target up here toward 114 to 116K. If this zone breaks to the downside, then we'd basically have the head and shoulders chart pattern, the larger double top, which should then push us significantly lower. Right now, it's really a 50-50 situation. We've got a lot of sideways price action, and in terms of news, there's not really much more coming our way today, or even this week. I think next week is when. I think next week or the week after is when, the Fed interest rate decision is coming up, but that's not until the week after next. This month is definitely going to be very, very decisive. Today will probably just be another day of liquidity grabbing, like pretty much every day lately. So right now, it's more of a sideline situation with a short position overall. It's still running, but it also has a stop loss at 140K. So I don't really expect it to hit, but I'm at least a little bit prepared. Alright, let's move over to Ethereum. What's going on with Ethereum? Ethereum is still mostly in a sideways phase. We're having a really hard time with this trend line here. We've already talked about it over the past few days, that it used to be our ascending triangle. Right now, it's more like, well, sure, we can leave the line in for now, but at the moment it just looks more like a range. That means we could still easily dump down toward $2,400 without any problem. Nothing would really happen. We're just in a range right now. The positive thing about this is that a lot of pressure is building up, which could then lead to us breaking out of this range in a bullish way, and then pushing toward $3,000, which is still my overall target because of the golden pocket from this entire downward move. The long sideways phase is just the problem at the moment. You might think that the volume in the buying spectrum here has increased dramatically. That also means there's a lot of spot buying pressure ETFs are buying. Everyone now thinks, wow, Ethereum is on the verge of a massive breakout. Meanwhile, though, the volume is dropping off sharply, and that makes me extremely skeptical about the whole thing, because this move, which was no small thing, if we look at it in percentage terms, up to the top, 51% and still 43% now, there's just extreme selling pressure here. Even though we don't really see it in the volume, the selling pressure can still be present up here, and that could eventually lead to a situation where the buying just isn't enough anymore, and we break down with a candle all the way back to $1,800. Depending on how you look at it, if you go by Elliott wave theory, okay, either this here is the complete wave 1 and we're currently seeing a consolidation, and then we'll move into a larger wave 3. Or you might see the whole thing a bit differently and say, okay, maybe this was wave 1, then consolidation, wave 3, another consolidation, and now wave 5 is already almost exhausted and that's it. I'm not fully into the Elliott wave thing yet, but I'd be a bit cautious here too, and yeah, locking in profits isn't a bad idea. Solana position closed again. We talked about that over the past few days, or let's quickly switch to the 4-hour time frame here. That's where we presented the video. We actually had some nice breakouts and then moved up to the pivot point here. There was resistance here, as I told you, TP1 and stop loss at entry. We went back down. There might be another opportunity for a position here at 150 or 143, 144 US dollars. I'll let you know, but for now, nothing is being done there. Let's move over to the traditional markets. What's gold doing? Gold didn't quite manage the retest. It's a shame we didn't go further down here. 3,320 to 3,303, but it could still happen. You know my setups with gold, they always get triggered sooner or later. So I'm sticking with that scenario. If gold wobbles a bit, then a retest down here would be another long opportunity, and then it could go for a new all-time high. Looking over at the traditional markets, at the stock markets, there's quite a bit of consolidation. So here too, we're seeing more of a range forming, kind of like what we're seeing with Ethereum right now, between the golden pocket and the 0.786 up here. There's really not much happening. The Nasdaq isn't far off anymore. That's the second point. If we move away from the big picture, that's making me extremely skeptical right now. We're not far from our all-time high. I also wrote that in the Telegram group 2 days ago. It's only 2.4% left. A 2.4% move can happen very, very quickly, and I just expect that if the Nasdaq hits its all-time high here, that'll be it for now, and then the big correction will come. Nasdaq volume also isn't really, well, it's not really great, you could say. So no matter how we look at it, in terms of volume, we're getting higher highs and all that. But the volume just isn't good, and that's what bothers me about the whole thing. That's why you should act cautiously here too, just like with the S&P 500. It still has a bit more room to move if we even go for the all-time high, but even 3.4% can happen quickly. And, last but not least, the DAX, still constantly hitting new highs, another new all-time high. I'm not going to wait for a short here. So here, I'm just waiting to maybe catch the all-time high on the Nasdaq, and then at the earliest, I'll try another short on the DAX. And now, last but not least, the euro against the US dollar is still in the range. Yeah, the target zone is still down here. Let's just quickly remove this here. It looks a bit messy, but that's how it stays. Either we get a breakout to the upside, or another breakdown toward 1.12. So, that was a bit of a longer video. We'll catch up again this evening at 7 o'clock with your altcoin coins, for sure. I'm looking forward to it, and otherwise, yeah, leave a like, subscribe, join the Telegram group, and like I said, we'll talk again this evening at 7. Make sure to join in, and I wish you all a nice, relaxing day. Take care of yourselves. Until then, bye-bye, and as always, stay CRI.